How's everyone doing today? And welcome to my channel. It's an educational channel, and we check into great theories, concepts, and discoveries that you're probably not familiar with because they've been suppressed. And on this feature, which is called Q-tip of the spear, we look at the InfoWar and that we're about to win, but it could be a Pyrrhic victory if we don't get the other aspects of our house in order. Um, I don't believe that we're prepared to move forward productively, and it's going to be a meet the new boss, same as the old boss type of scenario, unless we do a little bit more uh, digging in to issues beyond the 20th century, back into the more distant past, all the way into the ancient times. Um, there are just as many psyops back then as there are now. And there's a lot of deep-seated deception going on. The things that you hold the most dear are you haven't examined yet. You've dug into the more superficial stuff, the stuff that picked up in your cult in your from your current issues and your history books, but you haven't gotten quite deep enough to get into family, religion, country, purpose in life. And these things are uncovered through a lot of digging. I, I've done a lot of the digging for you on my channel. If you just want to watch my videos, you'll get into the relevant stuff. I've done about 370 some odd Bible decodes. Um, that's one place to get started. Another area that is deficient is diet, nutrition, and training, health. Um, we're making steps in the right direction, no doubt. At least getting rid of all the processed foods and so on. But a more and I can't quite say this because I'm an African descent person, and maybe my diet needs to be a little bit different than yours. I don't know. Um, but um, you're missing a lot in terms of the diet and just in terms of common sense. Um, and I hear a lot of you talking about on your podcasts and your chats on your Patriot shows, that truther shows, that you're talking about how your diet is doing so great, and you know that you're on the right diet, but you still get sick. If you're on the right diet, you don't get sick. You are immune. And so that should be a hint that you need to do some more digging. And you need to be doing some meditation on it so that you can think clearly about the issue. Uh, think physiologically and comparative anatomy wise. Um, and then also that kind of rubs off into the health sphere. If you are on the proper diet, then you don't need supplements. You don't need to worry about, you know, um, I mean, I'm not saying you don't need to worry at all about pollution or, um, glyphosate or other pesticides, but they're kind of just like a fly on you. They're very minor in the grand scheme of things compared to having the getting the macro nutrients that you need, or really eliminating the macronutrients that you don't need. So uh, but that rubs off in a lot of your podcast shows where you guys are endorsing these various dietary products, supplements, and the new ones have to do with losing weight, drinking some concoction that tastes good, and that way you don't have to eat it all. These things are all subject to the placebo effect. They all work. If you think they're going to work, they're going to work for a while. You're gonna get great results for a month, 2 months, 6 months, even 2 years. But we'll come back 2 years from now, and you guys won't be endorsing the same product. You'll be endorsing a new product that is a new kick. That is a new placebo. Um, you have to more or less get down to um, the more as the soft disclosure people say, the first principles of these things, and examine this situation a little bit more closely. Again, I've done a bunch of videos on this. If you go into my cardio maniac playlists, I've got about 8 or 10 of those, and those are mainly workout videos, but at least in some of them I discuss the diet that underlies the workouts, where I'm able to work out at 100% of full hardcore high intensity cardio for an hour or more every single day for the last 27 years. Um, Missed one day in 27 years because I had food poisoning, which was because I cheated on the diet. That's the reason why I missed the day. Um, so it works. It works at least for a person who has the same constitution that I do. Maybe you guys have different requirements. I'm open to that, and so I'm not so insistent upon it. But I know some people that have more of your, um, you know, um, in your genes, or your, race, your um, background, where your ancestors are from, and the diet works for them too. So um, it's hard. You have to know what you're doing. You have to do the digging. You have to do some math. Um, you have to be pretty anal about it for a while, for 6 months or a year, until you kind of get the feel for it. But it works, and it leads to perfect health. And you don't need to take any supplements. You don't need to um, ever get sick, and you don't need to worry about that kind of thing. And you can work out. In fact, you have to work out every day, but you can work out at incredible intensities every single day. You recover like a miracle. And you know you get to eat as much as you want to. Not only that, but you get to eat as much as you want. So check out some of my earlier videos, especially in the cardio maniac playlist, for all that. Otherwise, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in today, and like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on uh, the Q-tip of the spear.